At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Linnell Willingham.
Let's do it, shall we? Good morning to you and yours. Saturday morning sports with the youngest in charge, Linnell Willingham, getting you up to 11 a.m. Eastern time. Waking up early with you once again, and we got a full slate of NFL preseason football all afternoon long. Here's the one thing I would say, just to start things off here. We'll get into some of the preseason action that we've seen already. This is just a disclaimer out there for any of you sickos, and I didn't get the chance to catch our guy Josh Graham last night. We'll see if he's got Graham's gambling at all throughout his program here this afternoon, but if you're betting on preseason football, I don't judge for much. There's a lot of things you can judge about me, matter of fact. If you're betting on preseason football, God bless you. God bless you. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. The action, though, to this point has been entertaining. I'm geeked up for the fact that football is back, period. As I just mentioned, full slate of games coming up this afternoon. Starting at 1 o'clock, Carolina and Buffalo, Chicago and Cleveland, New York and Minnesota, all kicking off at that time. We're going to talk about a couple of those games because we know what today is, and we know who's playing today. The Cleveland Browns and their quarterback competition, probably one of the best offseason storylines to this point. We get some movement today. We'll get to see both of the quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson going to get the start. And then Shedeur Sanders, I don't know in what capacity, guys. I don't know if it'll be perfect timing or not. But at some point, he will get some mop-up duty today for the Cleveland Browns. We will see how he ultimately is able to fare with it. But that game, probably the one on tap this afternoon that's the juiciest and has my attention the most. Let's hop in the time machine for a second. Rewind this bad boy back to Thursday night, which was the opener of week one of the preseason. And there was a performance that, if I'm being honest, caught me off guard a little bit. There was a performance that, like I said, caught me by surprise, is how I ultimately would put it. And here's what I will say about this profession. This was great about it. You can be wrong 7 days out the week and your key card will still work. As long as you can give some strong research and back up your take, you can give pretty much whatever take you want in this profession. It is rare that I will walk something back this early. It's August. Anything that I said to this point, back in the offseason, if I'm walking it back at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I must not have felt too strongly about it. I did, though. That's the thing. What am I walking back? It's like I'm building up the suspense here for you guys. You all know what I'm walking back. And I'm almost like tiptoeing up to it because I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. A big fella like me, 6'2", 285 pounds, I get embarrassed. Fernando Mendoza looks like Tom Brady reincarnated. If we're being honest about it. And you all know how passionate I was about him not being the number one overall pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. The way that he played on Thursday night, and we're going to get into some of the action that we saw from last night's three-game slate, but Fernando Mendoza in the preseason opener for the Las Vegas Raiders, 10-16, 97 yards. He took a red zone sack that kind of made you go, "Rrr." But outside of that, I mean, the brother was damn near perfect. Damn near perfect. Talking about Fernando Mendoza. You want to talk about tight window throws, turning his back to the defense and making a quick decision off of play action? It looked like Tom Brady. And I'm not getting caught up in the sauce. I'm not getting lost in the sauce, so to speak, in terms of that easy parallel, that easy comparison, because Tom Brady's in the front office, part of the ownership group of Las Vegas. It's low-hanging fruit, guys. It is. But did you watch him? Did you watch him is the question. I'm telling you, to have the onions to attempt to fit some of these balls in the windows that he did for Fernando Mendoza, it's what made him the number one pick, guys. I did not see that coming. I'll be honest. I didn't see it coming. I thought, remember what I said all pre-draft? When it was 75 and sunny, which was a lot for Fernando Mendoza during his time in Indiana because it was Indiana, the best team in the country. When it was 75 and sunny, Fernando looked like the number one overall pick. Fernando looked like somebody who was deserving of leading a franchise moving forward. He damn sure did. But when it got a little bit chilly, when there was some sleet, when there was some hail, when we got some inclement weather, pressure moved off of his spot, he didn't look like the same guy. He didn't. What you saw in the preseason opener on Thursday for Fernando Mendoza, he's been working. Best put, he's been working. He's been working hard. The kid just, with the size that he has, if he is going to show any ounce of athleticism, which I don't know if he showed a whole bunch of that at Indiana, and people are going to point to the scramble in the national championship game and see, he can do it. It's one time, guys, one time. If he's going to show that athleticism, I mean, the Raiders got a tough decision to make here. As a matter of fact, no, they don't. The decision's actually not tough at all. Similar situation to what's going on in Arizona. Similar situation to what's going on in Cleveland. You know what Kirk Cousins is at this point. The Arizona Cardinals know what Jacoby Brissett is at this point. You know what Deshaun Watson is. You know what Kirk Cousins is. Las Vegas Raiders. After the preseason debut of Fernando Mendoza, there is no doubt in my mind he should be the week one starter for Las Vegas. Why? Why would you bother playing Kirk Cousins? He's ready, guys, and it doesn't take long. Some of you are saying, it's one preseason game, Linnell. What are you talking about, bud? It's not it at all. It's not it at all. He is someone that's clearly got the goods. And maybe it'll look horrible next week in their second preseason game. He'll throw 3 picks, and it'll be ugly, and it'll be nasty. But the way that he looked on Thursday, hot damn. Woo! It gets me excited because as a Commander fan, you see it in the background, y'all, if you're watching on our YouTube stream. By the way, an official good morning and welcome in. I know you all pop in at different times here. However you're checking us out, we appreciate you being here. You can listen on one of our over 200-plus affiliates out there nationwide on the AM/FM dial. We encourage you to check out the YouTube live stream as well. I think we may be having like a show first, and maybe not first, but you'd have to go back a long, long way. I'm wearing a hat this morning, guys. If there's any incentive to tune into the YouTube, I'm wearing a hat. People get on me, Stu. They say, oh, well, he wears a black shirt to every show. If you all knew how hard it was to white balance on a Logitech webcam, damn it, you wouldn't trip out about my black shirt routinely. But no, man, appreciate y'all locking in. You can check out the YouTube stream by searching Westwood One Sports Night. Exclusive training camp content is there as well. The training camp tour is wrapped up. This is like the first weekend show, and I'm sure Andrew's breathing a lot easier over there as a result of this. This is the first weekend show in a while that I'm at the crib. I've been on the road the last 2 weekends. as a part of the training camp tour. Wrapped it up last weekend in Berea, Ohio with the Cleveland Browns. We're going to talk about their quarterback competition coming up here momentarily. It really officially gets underway this afternoon as Deshaun Watson going to get the start against the Chicago Bears. But the Las Vegas Raiders, man, it's really not much of a decision that needs to be made, if I'm being honest. There's really not much to think about here in this situation. They 1,000% should be starting that dork Fernando Mendoza. And when I call him a dork, a nerd, a gump throughout the course of the season, know that it's the highest form of flattery, guys. Understand that when I go down that road with him, it is the highest form of flattery, guys. It just is. It just is. Because the kid's just different. He understands it. He does. And, I think in an NFL locker room, right? And Stu, I just sent you something hot off the presses to your email, my friend. When you're in an NFL locker room, it is extremely difficult to fake it from a personality standpoint. They'll crack you like an egg. I'm telling you. If you come in there trying to be somebody that you're not, they'll crack you like an egg. And for Fernando Mendoza, I think a lot of folks, and maybe I'm reading the room wrong. You can correct me at 310-840-4910 on the talking text line. I think initially, or maybe during the pre-draft process, for me and some others, I questioned a little bit, is this guy who he's portraying himself to be? Is he really this much of a dork? Is he really this lame? And I say that, again, with flattery, the utmost flattery, right? And I think throughout the course of rookie minicamp, the mandatory minicamp that the vets and rookies participate in, the off-season program, training camp through the first couple of weeks, his teammates are seeing exactly the type of cat that he is. Seeing exactly the type of cat that he is. The reality is, for Fernando Mendoza, he's got a chance to do something special in this league if his mentality is going to be what it's been to this point. He is all football all the time. And when you're playing the quarterback position, guys, you can't two-step it, is how I would say. You can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? Playing the quarterback position. And I think for Fernando, no matter how ultimately talented he is, right? Because we see guys that are talented all the time never reach their potential. I think for Fernando, though, his work ethic is so damn strong that his floor is how I would describe it. His floor is going to be higher as a result of that. His floor is going to be higher as a result of his work ethic. He can only be so bad putting in that much work. That's just the reality of the situation. And think about the offseason, right? Think about the offseason that the Las Vegas Raiders have had. The rescinded Max Crosby trade to Max Crosby and Kirk Cousins about to come to blows during practice because Kirk was getting touched on the arm. Like, there's a lot that could have distracted this group. I was impressed by how they came out. And yes, they lost the game, but I was impressed by the way Fernando looked. I was impressed really by the entire operation, man, honestly. So shout out to Fernando Mendoza. Damn good on Thursday night in his preseason debut. 10 of 16, 97 yards and a touchdown. He took a red zone sack that kind of irritated me. I know it irritated the coaches as well. But outside of that, Fernando Mendoza was damn good. I mentioned him being America's favorite dork. Is that a nicer way to say it? He's America's favorite dork. America's favorite dork whenever he starts games for the Raiders. And from my vantage point, it should be from week one. You're going to have to hear from him after every game. You're You're going to have to hear from him once a week during the practice week. He is going to be one of the best sound bites in the NFL because I'm not sure this guy is a real human being at this point. He may just be a robot playing the quarterback position. Here was Fernando Mendoza immediately following his NFL debut, and they were asking, hey, Nando, when are you going to tap into the tape, buddy?
Fernando, how valuable is having this tape tonight against an opposing team, and how quickly do you anticipate going into that tape?
Oh, definitely right after this. I have nothing else to really do tonight. But it's great because in training camp, you're out there. I believe we have, probably around 10, 12 practices we've had against our guys. We kind of understand each other's schemes at this point. We get a lot of reps against each other, the personnel, but to actually be able to go through a week of preparation, scouting, little bit of schematics against the Cardinals defense, and then be able to get out there, call in the huddle, have the play clock, have the real refs with the flags, have real adversity where it's not practice where it's like, okay, incomplete pass, next play, boom. It's not scripted. It's the real game. You don't there's no saying what could happen. All you can control is that present moment. So I look forward to learning from it, and it's a great moment, especially as being able to play football in the NFL and having so much gratitude, but also wanting to take advantage of the opportunity.
I mean, does he not sound like AI? There's this movie called My Date with the President's Daughter. It's a Disney classic. And I'm not a movie guy, so if I really remember a movie, it's got to be damn good. He just reminds me, and this has nothing to do with the movie, by the way. He is the type of guy that can show up at the doorstep of the president and date his daughter. The kid is perfect. Honestly, he's like Kirk Cousins light. I don't even think Kirk was as dorky. When you hear him talk, it's almost like he's forcing it, like he's reading a script. But I'm not going to joan on him anymore because his NFL debut was out of this world. 10 of 16, 97 yards, a couple of throws, a couple of pass attempts that you got to really be confident in your gun to even attempt, including the touchdown pass that he threw, man, protecting the wide receiver. It was special, man. It was special. Loved what I saw out of Fernando Mendoza. And if we're being real, guys, one, I've totally changed my tune on Mendoza. And after seeing him in one game, if I am Las Vegas, I am giving him the keys to the Ferrari right out the chute. That's one observation. There's been some other really good quarterback performances here throughout the first couple of days of week one of the preseason as well, including a really, really good performance out in the Steel City. We'll talk all things Steelers coming up top of the 9 o'clock hour on the East Coast as they may have not one youngster to, succeed Aaron Rodgers, but two. We'll get into the Steelers coming up here momentarily. 310-840-4910 is the number. Saturday morning sports with the youngest in charge and L. Willingham underway. We appreciate you being here. However you choose to do so. As I mentioned, you can listen on one of our over 200-plus affiliates. We encourage you to check out the YouTube live stream as well. I believe it's, 7 games on tap this afternoon in the National Football League? I'll tell you the one with the juiciest storyline next here on Westwood One Sports.
The Jonas Brothers will be going down under, performing halftime for Rams 49ers in Australia. Will Aaron Donald be on the field, making Kyle Shanahan call SOS?
This is an SOS.
Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Linnell Willingham.
Let's keep rolling, shall we? Saturday morning sports with the youngest in charge rolls on as we get you up to 11 a.m. Eastern time. Appreciate you checking in. However you choose to do so, you can listen on one of over 200 plus affiliates out there nationwide. You can check out the YouTube live stream as well. Just search Westwood One Sports Night. NFL preseason going to be the topic of conversation, really all 3 hours here this morning. So if you're looking for something else, I apologize to you. Open things up talking about the debut of the number 1 overall pick, Fernando Mendoza. And I did something that I rarely do on this show because I'm rarely wrong. I had to walk something back. I had to walk it back. Fernando Mendoza and the way that he performed on Thursday in their opener against Arizona, he for damn sure should be the starter for the Las Vegas Raiders. What are you missing out on at this point? What are you gaining by keeping him on the bench? That's the thing I can't get. I thought he wasn't going to be ready. I did. I thought he'd struggle with the speed of the game. I thought maybe the supporting cast in Vegas wouldn't be good enough, but hallelujah. Maybe I should save that for Sunday morning sports. We'll praise him early here. I mean, what a performance from Fernando, man. And it's not, and people are tweeting at me, and you can do so as well. It is at NELL_BTP. That's the same handle on every social media platform. People tweeting at me saying, calm down, Linnell. It was going up against second stringers and backups. It's not about who he was going against, guys. It's what he did from a footwork standpoint, from a timing standpoint, and then having, excuse my French, I know it's early in the morning, having the balls to thread the needle the way that he did. It was awesome, man. Honestly, he was in his bag on Thursday night in that preseason opener. He was. We go from one AFC quarterback to another. As I mentioned, pretty loaded slate of games coming up this afternoon as week 1 of the NFL preseason continues. Games get kicked off this afternoon at 1 p.m., so that's beautiful. We'll see the debut of the Buffalo Bills' new stadium as we got Carolina and Buffalo kicking things off, Giants in Minnesota, the final of the 3 games that start at 1 o'clock. The one that's most interesting, of the 7 games that we have on tap this afternoon, the one that far and away is the most interesting is happening in Chicago, Illinois, Soldier Field. Bears, Browns, Deshaun Watson going to get the start for the Cleveland Browns. Shedeur Sanders expected to play at some point throughout the contest. But as I've said all offseason long, and after visiting the Browns, I just had like a chill go through my body, guys. Some of you are probably wondering, why are you saying excuse me? He didn't sneeze. He didn't burp. I just had a chill. If you watch on the YouTube stream, that's why you got to watch. You miss a day, you miss a lot. But no, after going out to Berea and watching the Browns up close to person, my opinion didn't change in terms of what the Browns' plan should be for 2026. As I've said all offseason long, it would be organizational malpractice if they leave the 2026 campaign not having a concrete answer on what Shedeur Sanders is as a quarterback. You got to know. And last year, based off of the piss-poor supporting cast, you couldn't get a real gauge on how good he actually is. Now, in terms of Deshaun Watson, who was named the starter by Todd Monken earlier in the week, he is going to start this afternoon. And I'll be honest, guys, I expect Deshaun Watson to play well. I know that may surprise some folks. I expect Deshaun Watson to play well this afternoon, not because I think Deshaun Watson is going to revert back to his 2019 form with the Houston Texans. It's not for that. It's because the supporting cast that Andrew Berry has put together in Cleveland, if you've got a pulse at the quarterback position, you should play well. I expect big things out of Denzel Boston. I expect big things, the receiver. I expect big things out of their rookie, KC Concepcion. I expect big things out of their matchup chess piece at the tight end spot in Harold Fannin. And here's the thing. Let me tell you something about old Harold, ladies and gentlemen. From being out there at Browns practice, first and foremost, seeing him being lined up all over the formation, isolated by himself at the top of the numbers, lined up in the slot, lined up as a wing, lined up as the bottom receiver or the off-ball receiver rather in trips. He is a real matchup chess piece. And the Browns got a couple of those. You've got Fannin. You've got Denzel Boston, who's had an amazing camp. You've got Casey Concepcion, who's had an amazing camp. And here's the other thing that we'll see this afternoon that'll really help the quarterbacks. Remember what it was last year or how the Cleveland Browns moved the football. Quinshon Judkins. If that run game can get going with the guys that they have on the perimeter, it doesn't matter who starts at quarterback. I expect them to have some semblance of success because of the supporting cast. And the offensive line, probably my biggest takeaway from going out to Berea, Ohio. Spencer Fano, number 9 overall pick, whipping ass, taking names. Doesn't matter if it's Jared Verse or Julian Akwara. He's up for the challenge. He wants to smoke. That offensive line gelling and them solidifying their starting 5 as quickly as possible, that's how you build continuity. That's how you get yourself on track and on the same page and have this thing moving 100 miles an hour when it's time to start the regular season. And for Cleveland, 2 games on the road at Jacksonville, at Tampa. You better be ready, because my prediction of the entire AFC North can't go into the playoffs. It can't come true if the Browns start 0-2. That rhymed unintentionally because I'm just like that. 310-840-4910 is the number. Deshaun Watson going to get the start this afternoon for the Cleveland Browns. 2-part question for you to open things up here on Westwood One Sports. 1, your expectations for Deshaun Watson this afternoon. And then 2, who do you expect ultimately to be the Week 1 starter for the Cleveland Browns? There's been a lot of consternation over that topic. There's people that are Team Shador. There are folks that are Team Deshaun Watson. Which side do you fall on? 310-840-4910 is the number. The NFL, sports, and life, ladies and gentlemen, is all about confidence. You got to have confidence. Well, earlier this week, Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson, he was asked quite straight up, can you get back to your 2019 form? Didn't sound like a quarterback who was all too confident. Here is Deshaun Watson on getting back to his all-pro, Pro Bowl level.
I'm different, man. I think ever since I've been here, early on, I think, bringing up Houston was cool, but, I'm 30 now, so I think, I had some injuries and things like that, so my game has definitely changed, but the mentality and how I play and what how I approach it doesn't. So, I don't know. I think just going out there and just playing free and let my, instinct just take over.
Deshaun Watson sounds like a brother that lost his mojo after a bad breakup. I'm telling you. Did you hear him? He got the stuttering at the beginning. His voice crackled. It's like Houston is a ghost of his past that's haunting him. He is trying his damnedest, for obvious reasons, right, guys? He is trying his damnedest to separate himself from his time with the Houston Texans. Here's the reality, Deshaun. You laid on those massage tables and you sat out of football for a couple of years, pal. You're not the same guy. You're right. Physically, you're not. There is no physical tool, right, lacking or whatever that should impact your swagger, Deshaun Watson. Where's your swag at? You're a quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, a blue-collar city, talking about Cleveland, Berea. People that put their hard hat on and go to work, that's what they're expecting out of you if you win this starting quarterback job, Deshaun Watson. So speak with some confidence, pal. Say it with your chest. Look, there are a couple of X's out there that if you ask me about them, I may get the stuttering just like Deshaun Watson. I may not know what to say. It happens to everybody. But you know what I expect today? My grandmother, shout out my grandma Frances, had a shirt back in the day, and this is going back like 20 years, circa 2006, 2005. And you know what Grandma Francis' shirt said? It said, Stella got her groove back. That's what I expect to see from Deshaun Watson this afternoon with the Cleveland Browns. I expect Stella to get her damn groove back. 310-840-4910. Do you think Stella is going to get her groove back? Will Deshaun Watson play well? What are your expectations for him as he gets his first start of the preseason for the Cleveland Browns? They're on the road taking on the Bears. And Deshaun Watson ain't the starter. We will see Shedeur Sanders at some point, according to Browns head coach Todd Monken, but he's a liar. That's been proven over the past week or so. So we'll see if Shedeur actually gets some reps. He will start next weekend against the Buffalo Bills. That is set in stone. Cleveland set to joint practice with Buffalo coming up this week. 310-840-4910. Your expectations for Deshaun Watson coming up here this afternoon. And then who do you think ultimately is the starter of the Cleveland Browns come week one? Is it Shedeur Sanders or is it going to be Deshaun Watson? 310-840-4910 is the number. I'll continue to let the calls line up. While we do that, we let you hear from Deshaun Watson in his thoughts about whether or not he can return to his 2019 form. They asked Todd Monken the same question. Can Deshaun Watson get back to his 2019 form, Todd? Because Deshaun's not so confident that he can.
Saturday took the ones in the walk, so I anticipate him being with the ones. When I walked out, guys grabbed me and said, hey, the last couple days we've been looking at it. Shedeur's got a few more reps with the ones. That's all it was. I wasn't even at the moment. I was like, yeah, sure, we'll flip it, and then next week we'll go the other way. I sure as hell wasn't thinking about coming back in here and telling all you guys that I was going to change my mind, because I really don't have to. And so that's just the way of being the head coach. I can kind of do that. Ultimately, Shedeur's going to go today with the ones, unless on the way out I change my mind, and then he won't. Okay, just like any other player in terms of how we rotate them. And the bottom line is the speculation, which I find kind of funny, is as long as we're still sharing reps, it's a competition. It would not make any sense. Thus, what we're doing is offensive. Thus, we're up in Denzel's reps. I promise you, I'll tell you. When I know what we're going to be doing, you'll know.
That was Todd Monken explaining how he got to the decision of naming Deshaun Watson the starter, as well as the decision to divvy out the practice reps the way that they did last week. And it was a very, very strange and unique situation, is how I would put it, how they got to Deshaun being the guy. I think right now there's clearly a considerable gap, right, between Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. A considerable gap, right? The question for me is, how well does Shedeur have to play in these preseason games to close that gap? 310-840-4910. The Browns have their preseason opener coming up this afternoon. Deshaun Watson set to get the start. One, what are your expectations for Watson? And then two, who will be the starter week one for the Cleveland Browns? 310-840-4910. Billy is in Toronto wanting to check in. Billy, what's going on, man?
How you doing, Linnell? Listen, couple of things. Number one, with Mendoza, I'd go a little bit slower on him. I don't like guys starting right away. I really don't like it. But, split the reps and let's see who the better man is. He will be eventually. But, I mean, just because you have a good first game, once the regular season starts, it's a whole new animal.
No,
as for Cleveland, I'm not a Shedeur Sanders fan. 32 teams pass on him 5 times. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, to be quite honest with you. But with the other quarterback, is his heart really in it? Did he just take? We know he had all the charges against him. It looks like he gets hurt every year and then misses the season. I don't even know if his heart's in it. So Sanders probably will eventually be the quarterback. But if his heart is in it, he's starting, no doubt about it. He's much better. And I'm not a Sanders fan at all. But I'll tell you that. And last thing.
Yeah.
And this is to my new best friend, Carlos. the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys, first game of the year, and the Cowboys are 3-point favorites, or at least they are now in New York. I usually like to wait, to get my gamble on. I usually like to wait 2-3 games, and I'm a dog better.
Are you talking about betting on preseason? Did you not hear my disclaimer?
No, I said the first game of the regular season.
The first game of the regular season. Well, if you're betting on the Giants, I mean, you're an idiot. So that'd be on you. I appreciate the call. We gotta let you run because we're up against it. I appreciate you. If you're betting on the New York Giants, 1-800-GAMBLER. 310-840-4910 is the number here on Saturday Morning Sports with the youngest in charge of Willingham. I'll get you up to 11 a.m. Eastern time. Deshaun Watson getting the start this afternoon for the Cleveland Browns. Your expectations for Watson, plus who do you expect to ultimately be named the Week 1 starter for the Cleveland Browns? Your call's on that next.
There's still 2 QB battles ongoing. In Cleveland, it's Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders. And Atlanta's between Tua Tagovailoa or Michael Penix Jr. When the starter's named, we'll let you know. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Linnell Willingham.
Pushing things forward with you here on a Saturday morning, taking you coast to coast here on Saturday Morning Sports with the youngest in charge, Linnell Willingham. Bunch of different ways you can chime in. Appreciate you being here. However you choose to do so, as I mentioned, you can listen on the AM, FM dial on one of our over 200-plus affiliates. You can check out the YouTube live stream as well. Just search Westwood One Sports Night. Preseason action in the National Football League continuing this afternoon, starting at 1 o'clock. 7 games on tap here this afternoon, 3 of them in the 1 o'clock window. The one we're focused on, Browns and Bears. Browns and Bears. Feels weird saying that. Browns and Bears going to lock horns coming up at 1 o'clock. Deshaun Watson named the starter by Browns head coach Todd Monken. Starter just for this week, though. And I believe that signals that there is a gap between Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders in terms of who is going to ultimately win this quarterback competition. But what I'll continue to say about the Browns QB competition, these preseason games, much more valuable than maybe you all are giving it credit for when it comes to that competition. I think Deshaun's the leader in the clubhouse. We ain't seen nothing yet. I think this thing is far from over in terms of who's going to be the week 1 starter. Whoever is under center, though, for Cleveland, like I continue to say, I expect them to play well. The skill group is much improved. The offensive line is revamped. And Andrew Berry and company have done a good job in consecutive off seasons knocking it out the park in the draft. The big question mark is, what do they get out of the quarterback? Deshaun Watson named the starter by Todd Monken, as I mentioned. Deshaun, as we let you hear earlier, not too confident in his ability to return back to his 2019 form. And I'll be honest, if he gets anywhere near that, the Browns should be jumping for joy. It's probably unlikely, man. It's probably unlikely. I do expect him to play well, though, this afternoon based off of the supporting cast. Todd Monken, though, his head coach, he is confident in Deshaun Watson returning back to his prior form. Here is Monken on his expectations for Watson.
I would never put limitations on a player. I'd hate that he would do that. Why can't he be? Why can't he play like that? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to say he can't till I see it, right? Till we see it, right? I've seen a lot of really good things over the course of the 4 or 5 months I've been here. I'm not going to put that on him. If he thinks he can't play like that, that's on him. I think he's done a lot of really good things athletically, making plays that we're going to get a chance to see, right? Because we're not live. We'll see. We'll see if that comes to play when we get out there and go.
So, first and foremost, get you somebody that talks about you the way that Todd Monken talks about Deshaun Watson. I mean, holy hell. But 2, I think Monken's going to be one of the best sound bites throughout the NFL season. Yeah, I know I love to fall asleep to Kurt Signetti audio at press conferences every now and then when I'm feeling frisky. I have a feeling during the fall I'm going to be falling asleep to Todd Monken. Just honest. Old and honest is the best way that I can describe Todd Monken. 310-840-4910 is the number. We'll let you all chime in, so I'll stop yapping. One, your expectations for Deshaun Watson this afternoon. And then two, who do you think ultimately wins this starting quarterback job for the Cleveland Browns? 310-840-4910. Anthony is in D.C. What's up, Anthony?
Yo, what's up? Quick thing I just thought I need to ask you. So during the season, you gonna do this in your thing with them?
I have no clue.
Oh, okay.
No clue
All right. So as far as Cleveland goes, got to pay attention to the details. Are both of them going to have the same personnel? Are both of them going to have the same limited game plan? If that's equal, then you have to take into account that Monken wants to win coming out the gate. So Watson inherently has the advantage automatically. So hypothetically, they both play well under the same conditions. It's going to be Watson. But if it's flipped and Sanders outperforms him, it can't be close. It has to be demonstrable. Then Sanders will get the starting job. But if it's Sanders gets an A, Watson gets a B+, it's going to be Watson. Because like I said, he don't want to come out the gate with the possibility of starting 0-3, 0-4. He wants to put his best chance of winning on the ground because for whatever, well, we all know what it is. Teams don't give coaches the same leeway that they used to. So you could be here today and gone tomorrow. So
with both of them, just from seeing it up close, if Shedeur gets to play with the ones, I expect him to play well. And I agree with what you said. I think he's got to significantly outplay Watson in order to get the job. But I think it's closer than maybe people are giving it credit for because they both haven't been brilliant throughout the course of training camp. So we'll see. Preseason action, more important, a better barometer than joint practices and things of that nature. Appreciate you, Anthony. 310-840-4910. So the other thing that Anthony kind of just triggered my thought process here with that in terms of like I said, Shedeur's got to play really, really well. There's also a benefit of Shedeur going against the twos today. Do what you need to do. Handle your business. Elijah is in D.C. What's going on, Elijah?
What's going on, Linnell? Thanks for taking my call, man.
Yes, sir.
For me, I think they kind of need to burn the ships on this whole thing because we have to remember if Deshaun wins this, you're talking about they have to absorb a massive cap hit of him being the starter. Leave Shedeur as a high upside backup and maybe a potential trade. So what you're asking, if Watson is the better guy, I think there's concern because how are you going to get into the future? I don't know what the end game is with the Browns still. I don't know. And it's at some point you're going to have to trust. This isn't what's going on in Vegas with Kirk Cousins and the backup having an opportunity. This is not that. So what is the play here? If you're saying if you're saying Shedeur is the future, it's a lot of questions. Maybe he's not. So if he isn't on the field, the coach don't have to tell us. But it's what is the game? It's okay, Deshaun's going to do it. And if we do bad, then Shedeur. But at what point does Shedeur get an opportunity to have a season before he has to come in when things are already down? How many times I want us to have a cat? If I'm getting drafted, you want to have an opportunity. And it's going to be difficult as long as Deshaun is in the mix. And if his own tone is hey, my game's not the same, and boom, boom, boom.
Well, the fact that he has no confidence or swagger, Elijah, is borderline trifling. I got to let you run. We got 30 seconds before we hit the break. 310-840-4910. Your expectations for Deshaun Watson this afternoon, and then who do you ultimately expect to be named the starter for the Cleveland Browns for their season opener? Shedeur is going to play. You can give your expectations on him as well. We go from one AFC North quarterback situation to another next here on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Linnell Willingham.
Let's keep it rolling, shall we? Here on Saturday Morning Sports with the youngest in charge, Linnell Willingham, getting you up to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Talking text line wide open for you, 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910. You can tweet at me as well, same handle on each and every social media platform. It is at NELL_BTP. Talking all things NFL preseason as we got 7 games on tap this afternoon, starting at 1 o'clock with the Bears and Browns. Deshaun Watson set to get the start in this one. Taking your calls on whether or not, or who you think rather is going to be the week 1 starter for Cleveland, and then your expectations for Deshaun Watson this afternoon. I feel like I'm in the minority. I follow one of our most tapped-in affiliates, honestly, 92.3 The Fan, out in Cleveland. Was on their airwaves last week when I got the chance to make my pit stop out in Berea. They feel like Deshaun's going to come out and vomit on himself tonight or this afternoon. I feel like I am the only one in the national media that is giving Deshaun Watson not only the chance to not piss down his leg, I'm also giving him the chance to play well. Because I think the supporting cast that Andrew Berry and company have put together, I think it's good enough to where he should have some sort of success coming up this afternoon. He should. If he doesn't, well, I guess it's going to be perfect timing for one Shedeur Sanders. Browns and Bears set to kick off at 1 o'clock. From one AFC North quarterback situation to another, this one a lot more interesting, if I'm being honest. Drew Aller lit it up during his NFL debut for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3 straight touchdown drives in the third quarter, leading Pittsburgh to a 28-9 win over the Packers. Aller, 10 of 13, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. He had 1 on the ground as well. Damn near a perfect passer rating, guys, at 154.8. And look, Aller looked the part. Honestly, he looked the part is how I would put it, man. I think there's a lot to be excited about. The thing that I think was most encouraging about Drew Aller's performance is accuracy is something that he's really struggled with throughout his time at Penn State. The footwork and stuff, they've had to break him down all the way since he's gotten to Pittsburgh with Coach McCarthy. I think the footwork, I think the processing, it all looks strong for Drew Aller, man. And I think if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is where things get extremely interesting. Aaron Rodgers confirmed a couple of weeks ago that, this is the last dance. This is it. I'm not coming back under any set of circumstances. First and foremost, I don't believe him. Just put that out there. If he plays well and the Steelers fall short and they think, we can run this back if we add a piece or two, they're going to run it back with Aaron Rodgers. But if this is really it, if this really is the end for Aaron Rodgers, the preseason opener for the Steelers, you got to feel really damn good about the future. For the first time in a long time, the Steelers have not 1, but 2 potential franchise quarterbacks on the roster. Not only did Drew Aller play well, going 10 of 13 for $153. Aller played well. That was this year's, what was Aller drafted in, the 4th round, 3rd round? That was this year's draft pick for the Steelers. Last year's draft pick for the Steelers, Will Howard, who missed his entire rookie campaign due to injury, he was talking hot versus the Packers too. 7-9 for 86 yards, and then he leads a 2-minute drill touchdown drive. Now, with Howard, I thought that Howard was good enough coming out of Ohio State that he should have been given an opportunity last year. I thought Howard, and I know a lot of college football, sickos out there are going to say, the hell is this guy talking about? Will Howard? That's the guy that you thought was good? Yes, that guy. Yes, the supporting cast in Columbus was out of this world. But, man, you still got to make the big-time throws. You still got to put the ball on the dudes, and he did that as well as anybody in college football. If you're Mike McCarthy and the Steelers moving forward, though, I think you have a good problem on your hands. I think the way that Howard and Aller played, they both look like guys that could be future franchise quarterbacks. The other piece of it is this. You have a little hand clap to Mike McCarthy. Big Mac, as they're all of a sudden calling him. By the way, and my Yinzers out there that are listening regularly, that listen out in Pittsburgh, can we get to the bottom of something? And Stu, maybe you've noticed this too, if you've heard Big Mac speak recently. I know you're from Pittsburgh, Mike McCarthy. He's overdoing the hell out of the Pittsburgh accent. It is so annoying. Every time we hear Mike McCarthy take the podium, it's annoyed the hell out of me. He's overdoing the Pittsburgh accent so bad, he's speaking fast. There are like montages on TikTok of like crazy Steeler fans putting together montages of Mike McCarthy talking, and I keep calling him Mike McCarthy. Big Mac is what he wants to be referred to as. So there we go. Your wish is my command, Big Mac. By the way, I can go for a Big Mac. We're going to talk about something a little bit later on that's non-sports. We've had a lot of good fast food discussions on this program. Andrew, you know that. We constantly are talking about food because I'm a man that's a little bit larger, right? The world's most expensive snack, Chick-fil-A, has come out with a new item. I'm excited to divulge that for you coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. So if you're looking for any reason to stick around, ladies and gentlemen, that is one. 310-840-4910 if you got any calls on the Browns quarterback situation. The Steelers quarterback situation, like I said, I expect the entire division to make the playoffs. I'm about this AFC North. I do. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. With Pittsburgh, Rodgers looks good. Looks good during practice when I was there. Has looked good throughout camp according to all reports. Him and DK Metcalf on the same page. Him and Michael Pittman on the same page. Him and Jeremy Bernard on the same page. What if he gets hurt? It's always the question, right? What if he gets hurt? What if he gets hurt? That's something that initially Steelers fans would look at as a death blow. Based off of the way Will Howard and Drew Allen looked, even if Aaron goes down, you still got a shot. You still got a shot. And if Aaron Rodgers isn't going to push the football down the field, maybe those two guys give you even more upside than you have already. Miss Leslie in the YouTube chat. You can get at us in the YouTube chat as well. Just search Westwood One Sports Night. Miss Leslie saying that he's not from Pittsburgh. He's not from Pittsburgh? I'm stunned by that. He's got to be. No, Miss Leslie, he's from Pittsburgh. But the accent is in Pittsburgh. But it is because, I don't know, cookies. That's like one of the Pittsburgh words. They say cookies. What else do they say? He is from where, Miss Leslie? He's from exclamation point? Where is he from? Cookies. What's another Pittsburgh word? Homies. That's like a slang term. Homies is what Pittsburgh people say. Wait, Andrew, you went to Miami of Ohio, right? You probably had a bunch of Yinzers. You probably had a bunch of Yinzers on your campus, didn't you?
It was more like East Coasters, so not quite Pittsburgh. Probably more like Philadelphia.
And those people, Philadelphia is like the ghetto cousin of Baltimore. I just annoying as hell talking about their people, their fans. Ugh. Speaking of that Pittsburgh accent that Mike McCarthy is starting to pick up, let's hear from Big Mac, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here is him talking post-game about the performance of the quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, we actually had two 2-minute drills. Obviously, one on offense was excellent. Thought our guys did a great job, particularly in the transition plays, at the ball. Also had the big conversion there on 4th down. So, but also there at the end there, what they did to us. So that's obviously good learning experience for our defense.
310-840-4910 is the number if you're trying to chime in here. And by the way, hearing that, so that clip, Andrew, and I'm glad you played it. That clip has been going viral because people are looking at it and going, okay, why is he talking so fast? I didn't think he was talking fast. Now, I'm a fast talker. Y'all know that. So maybe that's why I didn't think he was talking fast. I don't know. Look, I'm not going to try to – he's not doing a Brian Kelly bit is what I would say. He's not doing a Brian Kelly bit where, like, he's faking it till he makes it with, like, his accent or whatever. Speaking of Brian Kelly, we're going to get into his excuse me. Almost got canceled. We're going to talk about Jaden Daniels versus LSU coming up here momentarily. But this is the Steelers quarterback situation is fascinating to me. I really believe that they've got something in the chamber. And now, if you're Pittsburgh, doesn't matter how many games Aaron Rodgers goes out and wins this year. To me, based off of the quotes from Mike McCarthy, he called Drew Aller a first-round talent the other night. And then they looked at Will Howard as a guy that wasn't, really a 6th-round pick. When you consider what they've said, how they look, and then how they feel about him internally, the Steelers, they can win 8 games and everyone not be pissed off because they got those dudes, in the chamber, so to speak. I wonder, and this is the fascinating dynamic, I guess, if you're a Steelers fan, how well do they have to play the rest of the preseason for you to not want your team to draft a quarterback coming up? That's a big question if you're a Steelers fan. But, look, they have 2 good young options, man. I look into my crystal ball. This time next year, we're going to be having a preseason battle between Will Howard and Drew Aller for who's going to be the starter. 310-840-4910. Chris is in Lexington wanting to chime in. Chris, what's going on, man? I know you're probably excited.
Well, now, my man, great show as always, buddy.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bud.
All right, man. I am one of your Yinzers listening. First of all, I want to correct Miss Leslie. Mike is a native Pittsburgher.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Thought.
Yeah, his parents own a restaurant and bar there. I mean, I remember when he got the job in Green Bay, I was like, oh, wow, one of our own, getting a head coaching gig. So now, I'm going to tell you something. I did not realize that we had accents until I moved away. And people are like, why do you talk like that? I'm like, well, why do I talk like what? So do I think he's laying on a little thick? I do, because now I've moved away now for about 18 years. I've lost some of my accent, but is he taking it over the top? Yeah, because I don't even think I sounded like that back when I was growing up. But be that what it may, man, something you just said, Linnell, a minute ago is exactly where I wanted to go. And it's when you said, how good do Drew and Will have to play for us not to want to be in that quarterback sweepstakes next year? Because, Linnell, man, we'd have to get off this quarterback carousel. I mean, we really do. And I had no problem running back with Aaron, especially when Mike got hired. I get that. But, man, I want this to stop. And what I saw the other night, and something else you said earlier, I totally agree with. Drew looked the part, Linnell.
He did.
And I'm not delusional enough. I know some of those players he's playing against are probably not even going to make the final roster, but he looked the part. His decision-making, that footwork, because I watch a lot of Penn State football being from, PA, it didn't even look like the same guy, Linnell.
And this is the thing, too, Chris, and I'm proud of him, because I'll say this. When you think about this, Chris, whatever line of work that you're in, if you've got habits that you've built and then you get a new boss that comes in and you've got to, get on their train of thought, some people, especially young people, I can speak to that. I'm a young person. We don't take well to the change. We don't take well to the criticism. Chris, according to the reports out of Pittsburgh, brother, they broke his ass down. And I'm sure there were some tough conversations that had to be had. And for him to, one, take to the coaching and then have the classroom translate to the field, I think it's a great look for him, man. I do.
Oh, big time. I mean, Linnell is a former 5-star recruit.
Right.
You know, but everything that I've read, you're absolutely right. They broke it down to the studs, Linnell. Yeah. And for him to come from minicamp to that game, I tell you what, man, like I said, that's not the guy that I watched at Penn State at all. And I've got extremely high hopes. I'm not discounting Will Howard, but I will say I think the overall upside for Aller is through the roof. And I'm pretty darn excited because we've been starving for a quarterback since Big Ben called it a career, man.
I think you're right on board, pal, and I appreciate the call as always, man. Enjoy the weekend, Chris. I mean, Chris summed it up perfectly, man, and he can speak for y'all as a fellow Yinzer. If you are a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys, this is the most excited maybe you've ever been in terms of the future at quarterback. Most excited you've been in a long time. For the first time since the retirement of Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers have not one, but potentially two long-term answers at the quarterback position in Drew Aller and Will Howard. And, I know what some people are going to say. Well, now they're playing against guys that'll be Amazon workers coming up in a couple of weekends. Doesn't matter. For Drew Aller in particular, as I just alluded to, they broke his game down to the studs. And when you're a 5-star recruit, when you've had the success that Aller's had, it isn't easy to take to coaching. It isn't easy to be accepting of criticism because you've made it this far doing it your way. Well, right now, Drew Aller's doing it Mike McCarthy's way, and he looks like a future NFL franchise quarterback. A uber impressive debut from Drew Aller. And if you're a Steelers fan, man, he looked good. Will Howard looked good. They're going to get plenty of more, action throughout the course of the preseason. At this point, I don't even want to see Mason Rudolph. Just let those two play each half. I don't even want to see Mason. Steeler fans, how well do they have to play the rest of the preseason? Because you're probably not going to see him again in the regular season. How well do they have to play during preseason for you to skip out on the 2027 quarterback class? I feel like that's the question of the year for next offseason, happening this offseason before the start of the regular season. I tried to confuse you. If you kept up with me, you have an IQ higher than a pig. 310-840-4910 is the number here on Saturday Morning Sports with the youngest in charge. This is one of those shows where it just flies by. When we're talking NFL, hot and heavy the way that we are, it just rolls, baby. Having a good time, kicking it with you, man. We'll go from the NFL to the world of college football. There is one university that is slandering one of the legends of their football program. I'll give you the details on that next. This is Westwood One Sports.
There's 7 preseason games today, and we're that much closer to the regular season. The Seahawks-Patriots Wednesday night opener is less than a month away.
I'm so excited! I'm so excited!
Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Linnell Willingham.
310-840-4910, the number here on Saturday Morning Sports with the youngest in charge, Linnell Willingham, getting you up to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, breaking down every angle of week one of the preseason at this point. Not every angle, clearly. Big-time action, though, on tap this afternoon. 7 games across the NFL, and the one that we care about the most, because we've been talking about this quarterback competition all offseason, the Cleveland Browns, their quarterback competition gets underway for real. Deshaun Watson going to get the first start of the preseason for the Browns. We will see Shedeur Sanders a little bit later on in the game, but a whole half expected out of Deshaun Watson. So we will get some movement on the quarterback front in Cleveland a little bit later on this afternoon. 310-840-4910 is the number here. We just talked about the Steelers quarterback situation, and I don't know if this is her debut on the phones. Can we pot up Miss Leslie from Pittsburgh Is this the first time you've called into the show?
This is the first time I've called into your show.
You should have your own show. You have the voice of like a Greek goddess.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I did need to correct myself. I made a terrible typo in your YouTube chat.
Boo-boos happen, Miss Leslie. You're not perfect.
Mike McCarthy is from Pittsburgh, and I do not think he's laying on the Yinzer accent too thick. To a Yinzer, it almost sounds like he picked up a Southern twang.
Yeah, that's what
a little.
That's the awkward part about it. It's like where did this come from?
I don't know. Maybe from his days down in Dallas.
Are you now doing it from his days down in Dallas? It's almost like I hate whatever bit that Pat McAfee does because Pat McAfee is just annoying. If I'm being honest, no, he's great. I love Pat, but sometimes he's a little over
Pat
the top.
McAfee's the
You
dude.
just sounded like one of his like 50 billion co-hosts that he has with the accent that you just used.
I don't know about that, but he is from Pittsburgh.
I know you guys have to. I don't know about that. Miss Leslie, I'm calling it. You have the accent.
I definitely. Well, I'm from Pittsburgh.
Well, you're from Pittsburgh, so you should have the. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right.
Currently vacationing at the lovely Myrtle Beach.
Oh, you're in dirty Myrtle. I shouldn't call it that.
I am.
I shouldn't call it that, but you know I mean that as a term of endearment when I call it dirty Myrtle.
Good times down here.
No, for sure. For sure. Real quick before we let you go, because you're like a real Steeler fan, what would you have to see the rest of the preseason to not want to be in on the quarterback sweepstakes coming up in 27?
Oh, my gosh. Listen, I am a huge advocate of living in the moment.
Okay.
And I refuse to look ahead to the 2027 draft.
What a pro you are, Miss Leslie. She didn't take the bait.
It's all good. I am most excited for this current preseason. I'm looking at Aller. McCarthy, we call him the quarterback whisperer, and he's been whispering Aller this whole offseason. He's undoing all the damage that was done to him at Penn State. And he has the physical attributes to be a star. I mean, I'm excited.
You should be. You should be. Does this mean that Will Howard is just now irrelevant to you? Is that?
I mean, he is Mr. Irrelevant to me. I'm sorry. He's a great kid.
Oh
but
my
he's
gosh,
a
he's a
sixth-round
kid.
pick.
Here, Miss Leslie, you would enjoy this. When I was out in Pittsburgh, I don't know if you were listening to the show when the next morning when I talked about this. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Roonies, let the media eat in the calf at St. Vincent with the players and coaches. So it's me at one table, and then like 20 feet to my left is Aaron Rodgers, Will Howard sitting at this table, and I believe Pat Fryermuth comes over to the table too. Will Howard's girlfriend, massive Aaron Rodgers fan. So watching those two meet, Rodgers is a good dude, man. He gets a bad rap. Watching him interact with his teammates was like debunking a myth. He's really a human.
He is. I love A-Rod. Like, I watched his documentary Enigma, and literally
that made me
he's
think
just,
of him so much differently, if I'm being honest. But I hear you.
Yes.
I know what you Did we lose her? We lost Miss Leslie. That's all good.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no. It's now we lost her for real because we don't pump fake here on this show. 310-840-4910. Shout out to you, Miss Leslie. It's good to hear. A lot of you all are in the YouTube chat regularly, but Miss Leslie, one of the ones that has the unmitigated gall, as Stephen A. Smith would say, to actually call into the show. Good hearing from her. I've been dreading getting to this next topic that we're about to get into because it doesn't make me feel good. I have had to listen and read these stupid-ass jokes on X about Jaden Daniels and the number 5. Stu, I see you down there cackling because you know it has been ridiculously petty, bro. Some of the memes and things that we've seen. It's been ridiculous.
I feel like every other tweet on my For You page is basically a Jaden Daniels joke of some sorts.
And did you see the lowly ass New York Mets? Did you see the
did.
Mets
Yep.
last night? Come on. We stopped at 4 because we didn't want to offend Jaden Daniels. Denton Day had the tweet of the day yesterday. Denton Day tweeted out, "Well, the Mets have a cease and desist against the postseason." You damn right. You damn right. I couldn't believe it, man. Everyone's taking an opportunity to dunk on Jaden Daniels. I should be bookmarking some of these, but, like, I haven't because, like, they're bullying my quarterbacks. Like, why would I want receipts for them bullying my guy? Some of the stuff has been ridiculous, man. 5 guys, officially 4 guys because of Jaden, out of respect for Jaden Daniels. There was just so many other things that I saw, man. And it's crazy because the situation itself, and Stu, I just remembered that we do have a guest stopping by the program. Our guy Matt Moscona is going to join us coming up 10 a.m. Eastern time. Nobody in the world, I think, is better on this topic than our guy Matt Moscona, as he covered Jaden Daniels extensively during his time in Baton Rouge with the LSU Tigers, built a relationship with his mom, Miss Regina Jackson, and Big J, Jaden Daniels, so his father. So excited to have Matt Moscona stop by the program. I promise you, Stu, that totally slipped my mind for a second. I was getting ready to ask you, oh, snap, did I do what I needed to do? But I did, because we're pros here. But no, those of you that are not up to speed, if you've been living under a rock, it's really the only way you don't know about what's going on right now. This has been the story, unfortunately, in the world of sports. Jaden Daniels filing a cease and desist against LSU, requesting that they immediately stop using his name, image, and likeness. Now, the reason he's asking this to stop is why everyone is really up in arms and dunking on Jaden Daniels right now. According to ESPN, as well as Matt Moscona, Mark Slabach of ESPN, the first on the scene with his story, Jaden Daniels' camp sent out a cease and desist letter saying that they can no longer use his name, image, and likeness. And this is all over, allegedly, the distribution of Jaden Daniels' number 5 jersey to sophomore corner DJ Pickett. Now, DJ Pickett, 5-star corner, I believe was the best corner in the country coming out last year, had an amazing freshman campaign for the Tigers. And the way that college football is, and maybe we should blame the rules of college football for Jaden losing his number. This NIL negotiation, the fact that every good player is basically a free agent year in and year out, it's garbage. So DJ Pickett basically told the Tigers, hey, I'm not coming back if I don't get the number 5, written into my NIL package. I have to wear the number 5. And when Brian Kelly, because they had the regime change out in Baton Rouge, as some people call it, Lane Kiffin, who has no people skills, by the way. All he knows how to do is draw up plays offensively. We'll get to that in a second. He took over, and if you're Lane, I don't necessarily blame you, right? Brian Kelly and company promised this kid this number with the caveat that he would receive Jaden Daniels' blessing. When Brian Kelly and company said that, hey, you could wear it, it was you could wear it as long as Jaden Daniels gives his blessing on that. And that didn't happen for Pickett's freshman campaign. And Lane Kiffin, and I don't know the exact date that he took over, but on December 27th of 2025, Lane Kiffin tweeted out a photo of Jaden Daniels, I believe it was in uniform with the Heisman Trophy or like some sort of edit on his X app. And I believe at that point, the negotiation started. I believe at that point, conversation opened up between Daniels, Kiffin, and the university about the use of that number 5 jersey. And as I said, I don't mean to make this personal or to attack, but come on. Lane Kiffin is a jackass. Lane Kiffin is not a good person. And his actions throughout the landscape of college football have shown you that. You can't trust Lane Kiffin as far as you can throw his ass. I believe that Jayden Daniels has chosen to get petty, over this because of how the conversations have went between him, Lane, and the university. All Lane cares about is Lane. We know that, right? And if his life, and I'm not going to take any digs at his personal life, but I'll say this. I feel like he has no talent outside of calling plays and drawing up offense. If I'm being honest. Here's the thing, though, when it comes to the Lane train. I believe that Lane and company did try to discuss things with Jayden Daniels. And during those conversations, because Lane lacks people skills, I believe they said something that pissed off Jayden Daniels' camp. I truly do. I believe they said something that pissed off Daniels' camp and made those conversations go on the back burner and put them on hold for a second. Jayden Daniels found out that his jersey was going to be given away via a leaked photo shoot. Could you imagine? It's like this. It's like you finding out your wife is having an affair with your boss by like them posting a Facebook picture. I know that's a very extreme example, but just bear with me here. Imagine finding out you're having these, for what I assume to be, emotional conversations with this university that you care about. Y'all are going back and forth over something that's important to you, important to them. You don't come to a resolution, and then they go behind your back and give the kid the number anyway without your official blessing. Jayden Daniels has every right to move how he's moving. Anybody out there that disagrees with how Jayden Daniels is moving, shame on you. Shame on you. I'm pro. Let me choose my words a little bit better. I am all for guys being able to make their own business choices. The stupid commentary that I kept hearing in D.C. was that, this is such a distraction for Jayden Daniels. Why would he cause this distraction for himself ahead of his important season with the Commanders? If you ass clowns out there think that this is going to have any bearing on the 2026 Washington Commanders, I got a bag of air I can sell you. BOGO. Buy one, get one free. Seriously, are you kidding? Why would this have any bearing on Jayden Daniels' season? And here's the other piece that I get frustrated with. I believe a lot of folks, national media, local media in D.C., I think a lot of people have been waiting for an opportunity to attack Jayden Daniels' support system and to attack Jayden Daniels, period. People don't like that his mama is at the forefront of things. People don't like that Big Mama's making decisions for him. Guess what? Jayden Daniels, first and foremost, if you're listening out there and you have a problem, if you think that this situation is some sort of indictment on Jayden Daniels' character, go fly a kite, honestly. First and foremost, Jayden Daniels' mom and his father, you couldn't have asked them to raise a better man, right? This kid's never got any distractions around him. He's never gotten into any legal trouble. Seems like an awesome teammate by all accounts. Selfless, humble. I think it's totally bogus that people are using this as an opportunity to attack his character. It says nothing about who he is as a person, the fact that he's willing to go down this route. The other piece is this. People are saying that, he's now fractured his relationship with LSU. He's not going to have anywhere to go home to. He's not going to have an alma mater because of how things finish at Arizona State and then how things are going with the Tigers. Them Bamas have had 3 Heisman Trophy winners in the history of their football program. If you don't think Jayden Daniels is going to get a statue, you've lost your rabbit-ass mind. Why would he not? Why would he not? And here's the other piece. Anyone out there, how people are really legitimately mad at Jayden Daniels, man. People are legitimately upset. How can you be mad at him for telling the university, you can no longer use my name, image, and likeness? Does he not have that right? Does he not have that right to control who's able to market off of his name? Come on, guys. I couldn't believe the likes of Paul Feinbaum, that big mouth jackwagon, Danny Cannell, just idiocy being spewed. I couldn't believe it. But you know what? People have made this about Jayden versus Joe Burrow. That's what people have made this about. And that's why Danny Cannell and all the other college football lifers have come out with their pitchforks and blowtorches trying to burn Jayden Daniels. You all like bold proclamations? I'll give you a bold proclamation. Jayden Daniels, by the time the 2026 season is over, will be viewed as the better quarterback between him and Joe Burrow. And then two, Jayden Daniels' accomplishments at LSU more impressive than Joe Burrow's because Jayden wasn't playing with some damn super team. How about that, Joe Burrow? GUX Tigers. Or is it really just Go Tigers? And they put that stupid UX on it. I think it's dumb. The only thing good about New Orleans is our affiliates out there and Creole food. 310-840-4910. Any problem with how Jayden Daniels moved in this situation? Should Jayden Daniels' beef with LSU, should the cease and desist, should it be an indictment on Jayden Daniels' character and who he is as a young man, or do you think this is just some petty situation? 310-840-4910 is the number. Let's do this. We got Matt Moscona going to join us coming up in about 19 minutes or so. I want you all to line up on the phones with a couple of different things. One, you can chime in on anything we've already talked about, your expectations for Deshaun Watson coming up this afternoon, whether or not the Steelers have their quarterback of the future already on the roster. And then this, Jayden Daniels versus LSU. A lot of people taking the former Heisman Trophy winner to town. Do you think he's in the wrong for how he's handling himself? And do you think this situation should be an indictment on his character? 310-840-4910. Your call's next.
The Jonas Brothers will be going down under, performing halftime for Rams 49ers in Australia. Will Aaron Donald be on the field, making Kyle Shanahan call SOS?
This is an SOS.
Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Linnell Willingham.
Wake up! Saturday morning sports with the youngest in charge, Linnell Willingham, getting you up to 11 a.m. Eastern time. Matt Moscona, host of After Further Review, going to join the program. He's also the host of the Locked On LSU Football podcast. Matt Moscona covered Jayden Daniels extensively during his time in Baton Rouge. He's also the publisher for LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net added some extra context to the story that came out from ESPN about the cease and desist. Moscona added the detail that Jayden Daniels and his representatives asked LSU to return the Heisman Trophy, which, you want to talk about petty, P-E-T-T-Y. Sounds like Mama Daniels all the way. No, I'm kidding when I say that. I could poke fun because I feel like I'm one of the family's biggest backers, man. Everyone's trying to dunk on him. I don't think this is a distraction. I have no issue with it. Here's how I know, though, that Lane Kiffin and company did something that pissed Jayden Daniels off. Here's how I know that Lane and company did something that may have been borderline disrespectful. You don't get this petty without being severely wronged. You know how petty it is to ask for their copy of the Heisman? You already have your Heisman, JD5. To ask for their copy, in addition to yours, is crazy. You know what's going to be the telltale sign? I can see it right now. The dulcet tones of Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth. And now introducing your Washington starters, Jayden Daniels, Inland Empire. He's no longer going to say LSU, I promise you. That's how petty I expect this to get, man. I don't know what type of resolution we ultimately get with this situation, but I do not think Jaden Daniels is some bad apple or self-centered or a diva or a poor character young brother for what him and his camp are choosing to do. 310-840-4910. Jeff. What up, Jeff? Jeff calling from New Orleans. Good morning to you, Jeff. What's up, brother?
Good morning, sir. First off, it's all about wins and losses. Nobody down here likes Brian Kelly. And Brian Kelly's the one that started this whole mess by promising Pickett that number. Right?
Right.
Lane inherited it. The jury's still out on Lane. I didn't want Lane, but we got him, so we're going to see what he does.
We'll see what he does.
Yeah. But it's about wins and losses. Love Jaden Daniels, made a bunch of money on him, when he won the Heisman.
So this is your rebuttal and challenging what I said about him being better than Joe Burrow?
We'll see.
We'll see.
I mean,
I love that answer, Jeff. We'll see.
We'll see. I'm a diehard Burrow fan, too, now.
Of course. Hey, look, you got to be. I know how it is. I know how y'all get down there.
Ultimately, it's wins and losses. Have you ever been to Tiger Stadium on a Saturday night?
I have not, but I've watched numerous games. Look, not a lot of universities do it like Louisiana now. I give it to y'all.
Watching it don't do it justice, brother. It'll make your hair on the back of your neck stand up.
Jeff, it's on my bucket list.
It's an all-day thing, man.
It's an all-day affair. I already know it. I already know y'all drunk from sun up to sundown.
Brother, when Florida comes to town, you can't buy an ounce of a gator meat unless you pre-order it 3 weeks ahead of time. They out there cooking whole gators outside the stadium.
Come on, man. Getting her done. You should be excited, though, about your Tigers this year, Jeff. I actually am pretty bullish. They spent a lot of damn money, brother.
Yes, we did. I'm optimistic that Lane's he's going to be all right.
Hopefully he's able to turn
But the pitchforks will be out quick if he ain't.
Oh, we know it. Like I said, we know how y'all get down, man. Jeff, I appreciate you as always, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, man. 310-840-4910 is the number. I'll get to the other two coming up on the other side. I want you all to line up on the phones, though, with this. This was probably the most polarizing story in the world of sports this week. Jaden Daniels and his camp issuing out a cease and desist to LSU, informing them that they could no longer use his name, image, and likeness. The letter was sent on August 5th. The story was published on Wednesday, a week later. Can I add another layer to this, too? And shout out to our guy, Denton Day, who put this battery in my back. I'm pretty sure someone from LSU's camp leaked this to ESPN. I highly doubt that someone from Jaden Daniels' camp leaked this to ESPN. This is LSU trying to make Jaden Daniels look bad, which is also tells you where the relationship stands. They're now trying to smear one of their 3 Heisman Trophy winners in the history of their program. It smells like that no good human being, Lane Kiffin. It's got Lane's stench all over it in terms of where the relationship is now. He's not a good people person. He's not. That's why the people in Ole Miss want to literally burn him down. The quote that Coach Golding had, by the way, just good God almighty. Good God almighty. 310-840-4910. I am begging for your opinion on Jaden Daniels versus LSU. Couple of questions for you to chew on. One, does this situation, should it be an indictment on his character and his personality first and foremost? And then two, is this a distraction for Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders? That has been the narrative coming out of the nation's capitals, that this is going to be some massive distraction. Is it a distraction? Is it an indictment on his character? Your calls plus Matt Moscona next here on Westwood One.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Linnell Willingham.
Yes, indeedy. Youngest in charge, and Willingham, getting you up to 11 a.m. Eastern time, meaning this is the final hour of power, ladies and gentlemen. Get in where you fit in on the phones at 310-840-4910. Jaden Daniels versus LSU. Whose side are you on? Is this an indictment on Jaden Daniels' camp and their character? And then is this a distraction for one Jaden Daniels? 310-840-4910. Give your overall thoughts on this, man. I know a lot of people out there were passionate one way or the other, mostly dunking on Jaden Daniels, if we're being frank. People passionate about this situation. I want to get your thoughts on the phones here at 310-840-4910. We're going to have a little NFL facts or cap coming up in about 20 minutes. Matt Moscona going to join us any minute now. So as we await his call in, Derek is in Baltimore wanting to chime in. Derek, what's up, man?
Bro, Jaden Daniels, grow up, bro. I'm against him. Grow up on this. Bro, for one, if they didn't retire Joe Burrow's number and they can still give his number out, what makes you think you on that level? They gave your number out. So what? It's not that big of a deal. Unless they had some written agreement, something signed, whatever.
There was a verbal agreement, though, man, and it's the way it's the way that he found out. I don't think you all are taking into account how he found out.
Yeah,
he found out by a leaked photo shoot. They didn't have the decency to even finish up the negotiation with him.
A verbal agreement, that means nothing. He's not Joe Burrow. Focus on Washington.
How is he not focused on Washington? Because of I think that's the stupidest thing that anybody could say. How is this taking anything away from his professional career?
It's not taken away, but your attention, your focus. Okay, is there anything
you think
written
he's
on
the one sitting there drafting up cease and desist letters? No, it's his camp.
But he is in charge of his camp. He's in charge of his people.
Well, if anybody, I don't know your relationship out there with if you was raised by your mama, auntie, grandma. I was raised by my aunt. I know when my aunt tell my ass to do something, I'm gonna do it.
And listen. You're not Joe Burrow. You're Jaden Daniels. I get it. You won a Heisman. Great. Bro, they didn't retire your number. They have every right to get rid of it. I mean, to give it to someone else. Verbal agreement, that means nothing. And me and you both know that. We old enough, bro. We know that means nothing. If it isn't on paper.
But you know there's a way to do things, though, right?
We're talking about a number. A number.
Something that
is it that big? Is it that big of a deal that this happens all the time? There are players in college that are greater than him,
of course,
whose number is not retired, and they gave their number away.
Can I ask you this? The reaction that's been made on social media, I have no problem with him telling the university they can't use his NIL anymore. That's the one thing that I've seen people get mad about. And I'm like, how the hell can y'all tell somebody how to handle their business? And the other thing is this, how can y'all tell Jaden Daniels the appropriate way to feel towards the university with this? He's a human.
I get, but he's acting like they broke a rule. Look, LSU didn't break any laws. They didn't break any rules.
Look, he's acting like somebody who feels disrespected, bro, man. When you feel like you're being done wrong, when you feel like you're being, done greasy, you're going to do some things that maybe you wouldn't normally do. You're going to do some things that may not align with your character.
But, bro, we're talking about a number. We're talking about a number.
I get that piece of it. It's just a number. I understand. But the number clearly has more of a meaning to him than maybe we're able to comprehend and compartmentalize.
Okay, then my thing is, why not? First of all, you're going into your third year. If the number was that serious and that, you had some serious emotional ties, why not ask them when you're leaving, hey, listen, this number means something to me. Could we come up with something to where you don't give this number out?
They did. You're literally stating exactly what he did. And they agreed. And then Lane Kiffin, that slimy snake that he is, came in and reneged.
So they did a verbal agreement. Well, unfortunately, in today's world, man, verbal agreements mean nothing.
They mean nothing.
It don't. As much as we want to,
If verbal agreements meant something, Pooh Shiesty would be free right now.
Hey, don't.
Telling you. If verbal agreements meant a damn thing, Derek, he'd be free right now.
Hey, man. So listen, Jaden, look, at this one, get over it, man. That's all you can do. And now, I will agree with you on this.
What's that?
When something happens to someone, you can't tell them how to react. I get it. He reacted how he reacted.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, LSU, man, they don't owe you anything, man. They don't. They don't owe you the number 5.
I can hear you. I don't think they owe him anything but respect, and I think that's what lacked in this situation. I appreciate you, Derek. 310-840-4910. Sean is in South Carolina. Sean, what's up, man?
Ain't nothing much. You know what I'm saying, Charge. A lot of people chiming in on this situation with Jaden Daniels, but they're not putting themselves in his shoes. If I was in his shoes, I'd feel disrespected too, because I put all my body out on the line for you, and they should have asked him first, and then the player, I think his name Petty, the cornerback, should have got in touch with Jaden Daniels, because he knew Jaden Daniels wasn't number 5.
Did you hear what the father said? Did you hear what the father said, Sean? Sean, the father said, this makes me want to wear the jersey even more. Now they're getting petty, and the disrespect is continuing here. Because now the family of DJ Pickett is trying to undermine Jaden Daniels' importance to the university, which is BS.
Yes, and Jaden Daniels done proved himself. I think his name Pickett or Petty. He got to come in and prove himself. He could have won 0-5.
The kid was damn near the best player on LSU last year. He's proven himself. He was going to be, if he would have entered the portal, he would have been the number 1 player in the portal. Maybe. Him and Cam Coleman. He's that good.
Well, why he couldn't wear 0-5?
Oh, man. Because who the hell would wear Brother, if you was playing, I know you played ball back in the day. If the coach, if the equipment manager tried to give you a number that started with a 0 in front of you, you would have looked at him like they was crazy.
Yeah, it's a little messy situation, but I'm with Jaden Daniels himself, maybe. Because, like I say, they should have asked him. And I applaud his mother for sticking by him, because a lot of athletes get the money and blow it. She's making sure he get every dime he can get, because the NFL stands for not for long. So she want every dime for him that he can get.
Sean,
so I don't blame her.
That's the one thing that I get really, really frustrated with people for. They got a problem with his mother being so influential in his life. Look, I'm somebody, I was blessed to be raised by my aunt and uncle, but I wasn't always raised in a 2-parent household. LeVar Ball, Regina Jackson, any parent that is willing to go above and beyond for their child, there's just no way. There's no way that I could talk down on him. So I differ from a lot of folks. I appreciate the call as always, man. 310-840-4910 is the number here on Westwood One Sports. Let's do this. We'll move off the Jaden Daniels situation for a second. We're going to get into this in more detail tomorrow, I believe. But there's a stat that I came across on my X app that I want to read to you all, because I couldn't believe it when I read it my damn self. Y'all know how bullish I am on the AFC North. I think all 4 teams out of the AFC North, guys, I think all 4 of those teams make the postseason. And I think 3 of them have a legit shot of punching their ticket to the conference championship. Talking about Baltimore, talking about Pittsburgh, and then Cleveland. No, I'm kidding. Cincinnati, the 3rd team that I'm talking about. Some of you are about to lose your mind, weren't you? I really think Cincy's got a shot. Their defense is the big issue, right? Revamping the front 7. Insert Cassius Howell out of A&M. Insert Boye Mafe from the defending champion Seahawks. Insert John Allen. Insert Sexy Dexy from the New York Giants. Every report that has come out of Bengals camp, including the reports from Chase Brown, the running back, is that this Bengals defense, night and day better. Chase Brown going as far, guys, as to call him a top 10 unit in the National Football League. High praise for a group that has been TRBL terrible over the course of the past 5-6 seasons. Awful group. If the defense is revamped, if the defense is improved, I believe they should be on the short list of contenders in the AFC. They've got to be. They're too prolific offensively. They just are. The preseason opener was the other night. They took on the Detroit Lions, who did not play their starters. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow in that contest, ladies and gentlemen, was pressured on 28.6% of his dropbacks against the Detroit Lions, and he was sacked once. If they're not going to protect, if they can't protect Joe Burrow against the backup defensive front of the Detroit freaking Lions, what the hell do you think Trey Hendrickson and Mike Green are going to do? What do you think Alex Highsmith, Herbig, and Watt are going to do? The Bengals need to crap or get off of the pot, man. Joe Burrow is so damn talented. And I know I just sat up here and basically told you that he was Jaden Daniels' stepson. But he is so damn talented, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that he is not supported, or it feels like he hasn't been properly supported by the Bungles, it's so on brand. Free Joe Burrow, man. I'm telling you. Free Joe Burrow, ladies and gentlemen. After watching, and I know it's the preseason, and it's like, why is this guy having these strong reactions and thoughts off of the preseason? That's what they pay us to do, for one. For two, it's real football. It's real football. And I know I'm in the minority with this. Despite what your favorite radio host may think, anybody out there that believes joint practices are more valuable than preseason action, you have totally lost the plot, my friend. The only way to get ready to play football, guys, is by playing football. I'm a firm believer in that. Firm believer in that. And I've been to a couple joint practices. I was just at one this past week with Washington and Miami. Anything that's football or simulating football that doesn't involve guys being taken down to the ground is not real football. It's not. It's just not. That's why I'm like, the Browns quarterback competition, like, yeah, Deshaun's the leader in the clubhouse going into the preseason opener. But when them real bullets are flying and you've got to sense pressure and you've got to stand in there and take one on the kisser while you make a big-time throw, that's how you evaluate a quarterback. That's how you evaluate who should be your starting signal caller. More than any other position in the NFL, I think quarterback is so difficult to simulate in practice what you get in the game because you can't touch guys. But overall, big picture, when you go 11 on 11, right, you're not tackling guys to the ground. And here's what baffles me. Football has been played the same way. Football has been played the same way. Pine Needle, you type in Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh quoted, preseason games mean nothing. Joint practices are everything. Two coaches that haven't won diddly squat. I'm supposed to listen to their asses, right? Two coaches that haven't busted a grape in the National Football League. I'm supposed to take Kyle Shanahan's opinion as gospel, right? Tell them pay attention behind the damn wheel. How about that? 310-840-4910 is the number. Here's the reality, though. At every level, guys, how do you get prepared? In Little League, what you do before you start your regular season, guys? You scrimmage. We used to have a jamboree out of Montgomery Village here in Maryland, out at South Valley Park, a jamboree. I play one team versus my starters versus their starting defense. Then we switch and swap and rotate. It's like a football orgy. It's the best thing ever. That's how you prepare, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you prepare. In high school, what do you do before your regular season starts? You scrimmage. When you're in practice, what do? Guys get taken to the ground. You tackle. You scrimmage. In college, what you do? Spring ball. You know what happens in spring ball? Guys get taken to the ground. At every level, we prepare to play football by playing football, except for the NFL. Yet I'm supposed to sit up here and believe that the smart guys are doing it the right way. You are ignorant if you think they haven't won three Super Bowl appearances, NFC championship. I'm glad to know that getting to the conference championship is the barometer of success. Such a good job, ladies and gentlemen. Such a good job. Let's do this. We're going to have Matt Moscona join us coming up here momentarily. You can continue to have your calls file in at 310-840-4910. Pine Needle, you have lost your rocker. Can we make a show bet? So if your team, because you keep tweeting at me saying we're going to go 7-10 and this and that, whoever's team finishes with a better record gets to come up with a cruel, unusual punishment for the other party. How about that? 310-840-4910. We'll have NFL Facts or Cap coming up to wrap the show. But when we come back, Matt Moscona, who has covered Jayden Daniels extensively throughout his time in Baton Rouge with the Tigers, he joins us next to give us his perspective on Jayden Daniels versus LSU. That's next here on Westwood One Sports.
There's still two QB battles ongoing. In Cleveland, it's Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders. And Atlanta's between Tua Tagovailoa or Michael Penix Jr. When the starter's named, we'll let you know. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Linnell Willingham.
A little over a half hour left to go in the program here on Saturday Morning Sports with the youngest in charge, Linnell Willingham, getting you up to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We've been talking Jaden Daniels versus LSU. No better person to talk JD5 versus LSU with than our guy Matt Moscona, the host of After Further Review, as well as the host of the Locked On LSU podcast. He is also the publisher and managing editor of LouisianaSports.net. Matt, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you making some time for us, man.
What's going on? I'm in the middle of fall camp worrying about a jersey number. That's unbelievable, man.
Let's get right into it, man. Let's first just give a little bit of your backstory. You have been covering the Tigers program for a long, long time. You got the chance to cover Jaden Daniels. You know Jaden Daniels pretty intimately. You got a relationship with the mom and pops. You know who he is from a character standpoint. When this news first comes across your desk, Matt, what is your initial reaction?
My first thought was that Jaden was getting bad advice.
Mm.
There's Jaden's obviously very close to his mom, to Regina, and sometimes people may characterize that relationship negatively. I've never seen it that way. I think Regina's a brilliant woman, and she is a strong woman, and I commend her for getting her agent's license and representing her son, caring that deeply for Jaden. I do understand from the outside looking at how sometimes that can look overbearing. But be it Regina, be it Jaden's legal team, whoever, I think it's important to know at this point in his life, Jaden Daniels is a man in his mid-20s, a millionaire many times over. He's the starting quarterback of an NFL football team. And Jaden Daniels answers for Jaden Daniels right now. And that entire situation, this is a horrible swing and miss from a guy that I believe is a genuinely good dude and loved his time at LSU, and LSU has loved and embraced Jaden, and he will always be a very rich part of this program's history. But that is, those feelings right now are severed. I mean, they are estranged right now because I don't know what Jaden thought was going to happen with this, Linnell. But if I had to put the percentage on, it's like 95-5 against Jaden on this one. And it's a really unfortunate thing. And we can get into, if you want, the whole the backstory with LSU and how they go about honoring players and whatnot. But I think the most important thing to remember here is that number is not retired.
Correct.
Like LSU doesn't retire numbers. The way they honor players is a jersey retirement. Think of it like a Ring of Honor. So they haven't issued 5 since Jaden played. They haven't issued 9 since Joe Burrow played. But those jersey numbers are not retired. And you had a kid who was promised him in recruiting. He's a 5-star and he's a really good player, and he wanted to wear 5, and so they issued it. And it's led us to where we are right now.
So do you think, because I agree with everything that you're saying, Matt, do you think that Jaden is upset about the number being given out or about the way that LSU went in doing it? Because there has been a change in leadership. That number was promised to the young man by Brian Kelly, And based on the reporting here from Mark Schlabach of ESPN, initially, Brian Kelly said, yeah, the kid can wear it, but then told the young man that, yes, we would have to get the blessing of Jaden Daniels. Do you think that the frustration from Daniels' camp is coming from maybe poor communication tactics from LSU in the program?
No.
No.
I think Jaden doesn't want his number worn. So if we go back, DJ Pickett he was the number one corner in America coming out of the state of Florida, and I've spoken to people in DJ Pickett's camp as well. This was part of his NIL revenue share contract with LSU. It was written in the contract that he would get to wear number 5, and it was also known of his 3 finalists, Miami, Oregon, and LSU, that this was contingent upon his commitment, or his commitment was contingent upon the number. So as to say, if LSU was not prepared to allow DJ Pickett to wear number 5, he would not be at LSU. I was told that point blank today.
Okay.
So that is a key part of this. Now, the number was promised Pickett, and then ultimately when Brian Kelly asked Jaden Daniels last year if he was okay, if this is what ESPN reported, if Pickett wore the number, Jaden said no, so they didn't issue it. Pickett wore 3. When the season ended and they were negotiating a contract with DJ Pickett to come back this season,
right.
I was told today from LSU sources that you're familiar with those negotiations.
Right.
The conversation was not about money with DJ Pickett. Now, he got more money because he's a great player.
Right.
But it was not about money. It was about him getting the number 5 jersey. And so Lane Kiffin was effectively faced with the choice, do I watch an All-American cornerback leave over a jersey number? Or do I issue this jersey number that is not retired? And so Lane issued the jersey number. And the way Jaden found out, so there's one of the LSU corporate partners was having a photo shoot several weeks ago with a lot of the players that are doing NIL deals, and DJ's one of them, and so he was in his number 5 uniform, and this was several weeks ago now, and so before fall camp even started, before we knew that he was going to be wearing 5, and some of those photos leaked, and Jaden found out that way. So a couple of weeks ago is when Jaden reached out to LSU leadership to express his displeasure. So
Matt, not to stop you in your tracks real quick, because it goes back to what I said initially about the communication piece from LSU to Jaden. If Jaden would have been informed in a different way, if he would have found out in a different way, do you think this story would be where it's at right now? Because I look at it from Jaden's perspective. We have an agreement. We haven't had updated conversations on the agreement, but I then see this young man in the jersey. I feel like maybe if LSU would have not had these photos leak, and if Jaden would have found out in a meeting, a phone conversation, a FaceTime, etc., maybe he wouldn't be as sour as he is.
It's an interesting hypothetical. I obviously don't know the answer, how it might have played out that way, but they did that a year ago, where they approached Jaden and said, here's the situation, and he said no. So I can certainly see, if you're Jaden Daniels, how that could be important to you. That's not lost on me. I also, just me personally, I think the entire practice of retiring numbers is it's silly. I mean, it's football. Like in college, there's 100 guys.
There's so
on the
many
team.
people.
There's 85. Like I mean, look, I'm a New York Yankee fan. They've got 22 retired numbers. That's why Aaron Judge is wearing 99.
I'm going to say, what the hell do you wear at a certain point, man?
And I mean, every single digit. And here's the other part.
Yeah.
Every single digit. Linnell, you know this. Dudes in high school, they all want a single digit.
Exactly.
Like the best players want single digits.
Exactly.
And I did have this conversation today because, and I know for your audience, you really only care about the Daniels component of it, but I had this conversation today where, what if the number 1 quarterback in the country or transfer, whatever, wants to wear 9? Well, what I was told point blank was then we have to have a really uncomfortable conversation with the Burrow family. But we're not going to miss out on a great player to keep a number roped off when the official policy is not to retire numbers.
So they're aware of how much it means to the athletes, right? Based off of their answer with if Joe Burrow's 9 was requested. It would be a difficult, uncomfortable conversation, which I applaud them for having. One, you have to, because like you said, you're not going to turn down top talent across the country over a damn number. But there's a way you go about having those conversations, and it seems like, and maybe I'm looking at this through a burgundy and gold color lenses, and you can't say anything wrong about my Jesus, my Jaden Daniels. I'm curious to know, like, is that really what's pissing him off at this point? The fact that they went about it the way that they did. I don't blame Lane Kiffin at all. Like, to your point, Matt, like, well, if you got to choose one, I mean, I'm choosing to give the kid the number, and we'll deal with Jaden and his attitude at a later date. The NIL component of this, Matt, is the other part that I think is fascinating. Is his is his displeasure with their use of his NIL, is it a direct result of the jersey conundrum here?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's um so LSU has a video they play in Tiger Stadium during every game, and it's a video of every LSU player in the NFL.
Okay.
And they'll do it during one of the timeouts, one of the stoppages, right? And so always the loudest ovations are for Joe and Jaden, the two Heisman winning quarterbacks.
Right.
So I mean, just having a conversation today, do they need to take Jaden Daniels off that video? You walk through football ops and I walked past it today. There's an All-American and a Heisman plaque on the wall in football ops for Jaden Daniels. But I did walk. By the way, I have a photo. I'll send it to you if you want.
Okay.
Know. Jaden's Heisman is still there. I walked right past it. Snap the photo of it. It's still there today.
Okay.
But do they need to remove all of this stuff that has Jaden Daniels' name on it? Remember, the cease and desist, it is important to remember, is not a legally binding document. It's basically
a request almost, yeah.
But one of the conversations I had with an LSU administrator today was, you want to go to court? See you in court. This will get even messier. It's just, I don't think anybody wants that end. I mean, Jaden is a beloved figure here. I mean, it's you see, your audience will love this. You see Burgundy 5 jerseys all over Baton Rouge. Kids wear their Jaden Daniels jersey. I mean, he's beloved, man. This very much came out of nowhere. But I think everyone's looking at it going, even if Jaden felt that way, this isn't the way to go about doing it, because it is tarnishing his legacy here, which otherwise was sterling.
I think that's the fascinating piece of it is, well, how will the Baton Rouge supporters, how will the LSU faithful look at Jaden Daniels after this situation? Joined right now by Matt Moscona, a host of After Further Review. He's also the host of the Locked On LSU podcast, also the publisher of LouisianaSports.net. That is where we got this bombshell story that Matt and some of his colleagues have put out on LouisianaSports.net. Jaden Daniels and his representation asking LSU to return the Heisman Trophy. That is the next part of this conversation, and that's where my eyebrows officially went up and said, okay, Slim, he's clearly, if you couldn't tell, Matt, that he was pissed before, requesting the Heisman Trophy back shows you how angry he is. From your time in covering college football, how unprecedented is the request, and do you think that LSU, I don't think they're going to even consider honoring the request, but does it force them to have another conversation with Daniels in his camp?
So there was a less than 0% chance they return the Heisman Trophy. So remember, I think this is because, honestly, Linnell, this is something I've learned through this. I think people here understand this, but people who maybe aren't diehard college football fans, who don't maybe follow programs who've had Heisman winners.
Right.
So the Heisman Trust issues two. The award, the winner gets their copy of the trophy, and the school gets their copy of the trophy.
Right.
And so Jaden has his Heisman. this is the one at LSU. That's the football operations.
This is petty, Matt.
And so Daniels, as I understand it, his representatives reached out to the Heisman Trust asking them to rescind LSU's copy because he would rather display it at his high school. And LSU is just, first of all, it belongs to LSU.
Right.
So they have absolutely no intention whatsoever of relinquishing it. So that was very, very disappointing. Look, if Jaden wants to give his copy of the trophy, give his trophy to his high school and display it, he can certainly do that. But LSU's not going to give up. They're not going to give up the trophy.
No, and I think that last piece of this, that request to get their copy of the Heisman rescinded, I think that's probably the thing in this where I objectively look at Jaden and go, all right, brother, man, I rock with you now, but this is kind of getting crazy. But I understand. Look, and I think this is the other part, Matt, that people fail to realize. These are people at the end of the day that are emotional. Athletes are very prideful. Jaden dedicated a lot to that university, and vice versa. when a relationship that's this strong and this, passionate goes sour, you expect things like this to happen. I am just, I guess, surprised, like everyone else is, that Jaden and his camp have decided to go to this length. While I'm surprised, Matt, I don't look at it as some indictment on Jaden Daniels' character or Jaden Daniels' camp. I think a lot of people here in Washington, D.C., just based off of the scars of Robert Griffin III, Matt, people have been almost, it feels like, waiting for an opportunity to attack his character and his support system because it's unique, because it's different.
Well, I can't speak to it from that point of view as far as how the fans in DC would approach the entirety of it. Um, I, look, all what I'll say about Jaden is like quite literally he didn't have a bigger fan here than me from the day he showed up. I mean, there was a quarterback here, a veteran named Miles Brennan, who all the fans wanted when Jaden came in. And I was like, hey, they didn't bring the 3-year starter from Arizona State to come in just to sit.
Right.
And the only reason they won 10 games his first year here is because he protected the football and was dynamic running the ability. And we all saw what happened in his Heisman year, and he was awesome. And like I think the world of him, and I do also understand like time heals all wounds,
right?
And this will settle down eventually. And one day LSU will honor Jaden Daniels with a jersey retirement, and they will build him a statue. Same as Joe Burrow, to go with Billy Cannon, who's the other Heisman Trophy winner, who has a statue and his number retired and all this stuff. Like that's gonna come for Jaden one day. It's probably just at this point prolonged a bit because of this fiasco.
Tough situation. I hate that, it's being used as an opportunity to kind of, assassinate Jaden's character. But I get where people are coming from. It's an abnormal thing that's happening. I can acknowledge that, being even as big of a Jaden fan as I am. I can still acknowledge, hey, this is a little bit strange. I don't know if I recommend him going this route, but he's done it. And now that he's done it, I don't think it's going to make me look at him any differently. I'd be a crazy man if I didn't get the best man in the planet covering all things LSU. I got to ask you real quick about the program. What are things looking like, man? Now that you've gotten to see them up close and personal for fall camp, are they a team that you think can legitimately? Obviously, we know they'll be in the college football playoff, barring something crazy happening. How big of a shot? How much of a shot do you give them to win the whole thing, Matt?
Well, they spent $50 million on their roster. They better have a more than legitimate shot at doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, the interesting thing is Lane Kiffin's obviously a brilliant coach, and as lampooned as he may be for the way he handled his exit at Ole Miss and some of those things, which I'm not here to defend or otherwise, it's an objective truth that he's arguably the best offensive coach in the game.
Yeah.
And they retained Blake Baker, their defensive coordinator. They got a ton of talent over there. I mean, there's landmines everywhere when you go through an SEC schedule. So it'll be a challenge to make sure you end up at 10-2 and get in the playoff. But that's the expectation, man. You pay a coach, $50 million to go away. You pay Lane Kiffin $91 million. I mean, they've got as much, like they're almost a 1-to-1 coach support staff to player with all the staff he's built. They've just given him every resource necessary to win because it's such an essential part of not only culture, but the economy and everything that drives this state that LSU's got to be good. So they're pot committed to him, man, and they got enough pieces to do it. They'll have to have some luck and stay healthy. And Sam Levitt is such an interesting wild card coming over from Arizona State at quarterback. But they have every bit of as much talent as anybody in the country. If they get in the playoff, you get a good draw, go make a run.
It's going to be interesting, man. Obviously, the young man under center, Mr. Levitt's got a whole lot of pressure on him. The whole program does, man. Like you said, when you spend that type of money to retool things and to bring in, as you accurately described him, the best offensive mind in the country, it comes with some expectations. I'm excited for it, though, man. Buckle up for what is going to be an exciting college football season. Until we get there, let's all talk about Jaden Daniels and his jersey. Matt Moscona joining us today. Matt, good meeting you, my man. You were absolutely awesome. Appreciate you giving us some time, dude. We will definitely be in contact.
My pleasure.
Always love catching up with Matt Moscona, one of the absolute best, talking all things LSU, as well as college football. Humbling opinion. is what I would say. He didn't disagree with me. He didn't necessarily agree with me either. Stu, what did you think hearing from Matt Moscona in terms of where he stands on it? And then I guess we haven't gotten your thoughts on the situation. How do you feel about how Jayden Daniels is moving? Is it an indictment on his character?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. When I saw the headline a few nights ago, I was like, okay, really? Like, we're going to be that upset about a jersey number? But, yeah, I do think he was kind of blindsided by it, like you said. And again, the fact that it's something that's, like, damning towards his character, I don't think so. I think it's a little bit overblown, if you're asking me.
That's why we asked you. Our guy Stu giving it to us raw and real. I agree. I think it's a little bit overblown. There was a sports radio host in D.C., Stu, and I'm not going to name him, but I'm going to read the tweet. He tweeted this out, man, and this tweet that I'm about to read is what got me fired up about the situation, Stu. You know what he tweeted? He quote tweeted a Grant Paulson tweet where basically someone was just outlining, posted screenshots of the ESPN article pretty much. And host in DC quote tweeted it and said, Jesus Christ, just when you thought he was the anti-RG3, here we go. Maybe worry about keeping your pro career out of the ditch. Couldn't believe it.
Wow. I mean,
strong.
Again, how does that make him RG3? I don't understand. I don't.
It's frustrating. Very frustrating. It's not for anyone to understand. What we will understand is the greatness of one Jayden Daniels coming up during the 2026 season. I expect him to be in the MVP conversation for sure. One final segment left to go. We'll take a spin around the National Football League. NFL facts or cap? Next here on Westwood One Sports.
There's 7 preseason games today, and we're that much closer to the regular season. The Seahawks-Patriots Wednesday night opener is less than a month away.
I'm so excited! I'm so excited!
Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Linnell Willingham.
One final segment to go. It would help if I turn my mic on. One final segment to go. Appreciate Matt Moscona hopping on with us. I just became a lot more moisturized during the commercial break. What are you guys doing this weekend? Anyone have any fun weekend plans, Stu? No?
No, a lot of work. A lot of work this weekend.
Stu's a workaholic. Full transparency, we're trying to hijack Stu and make Stu a regular part of Saturday and Sunday morning sports. Now I'm simping for you on the air, Stu. So if you didn't think I was for real, I am for real with a capital F. Let's do this. I'm going to try to bring you up on the stream, Stu. Bear with me because I'm not the greatest. Little NFL facts or cap to wrap things up. There we go.
All right. We are on.
Stu, baby, what you got for us, man?
All right. How about we start with the Vikings? Obviously, they made the news this week, naming Kyler Murray the starting quarterback. That means J.J. McCarthy. Who knows what his future is, but barring injury, facts or cap, Kyler Murray will be the Vikings starting quarterback the entire season.
Barring injury? Well, here's the thing when you talk about barring injuries, dude. Kyler Murray has been oft injured throughout his career. It's part of the reason he is currently in this predicament. I'm going to go cap because I believe he's going to miss some time due to injury. It's just what it's been for him throughout the course of his career. Will they go back to Kyler after that? Probably. He played just 5 games last year. Played a full slate in 24, 8 games in 23, 11 in 22, 14 in 21. So not a guy who traditionally plays the entire NFL slate, so I'm going to go cap on that. We will see 9 at some point.
All right. How about another NFC team with some quarterback question marks, and that is the Atlanta Falcons. Tua got a good amount of play last night. Didn't look that great. He was a little critical of himself as well after the game. Obviously, they have Michael Penix Jr. as well, trying to come back from injury. So facts or cap, the Falcons will win the NFC South despite their question marks at quarterback.
You know, it's not as crazy of a question as some people may think it is. You look at the supporting cast. The offensive line is one of the better groups, middle of the pack group. Their skill group, though, Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. Stu, I called this the best opportunity of Tua's career in terms of what he has in the supporting cast and in the offense that he's going to run. I know what some people are going to say, well, damn, Linnell, he had Waddle, he had Tyreek Hill. He's never had a Bijan Robinson in a rushing game, a running attack, that would allow him to feast off of play action. I know they've had success in the run game before with Miami. This is a different beast, though, as Bijan Robinson is, for my money, the best running back in the National Football League. It was a long, drawn-out tap dance to say, Cap. I can't go with them. Missing their pass rate. James Pierce just got an 8-game suspension. They're going to be without Walker all year long. Who gets after the quarterback for Atlanta? That's the question.
That's a tough one. Well, another team with a good running back, and that seems to be the Arizona Cardinals. In Thursday's preseason game against the Raiders, Jeremiah Love, he saw a lot of action. 11 carries, had 3 receptions as well, was playing deep into the second quarter. Jeremiah Love, facts or cap, will rush for at least 1,200 yards his rookie year.
That's tough. That would mean I have to believe in the supporting cast of Arizona, especially up front. They just lost their rookie guard for the entire season. Chase, I'm blanking on the last name, Bionatis. Their guard, torn triceps, is going to be out for the entirety of 2026. I call cap on that. He's not getting 1,200 yards, guys. I was surprised. I guess the bigger storyline out of last night, I'm mad that Carson Beck didn't play for once, dude. And we talked about this last night. For him to play as much as he did, I don't understand why. I'm not going to read too much into it. I'm the main person in hoops and hollers. The only way you get ready to play football is by playing football. So shout out to the Cardinals for playing some of their guys. I just think for a rookie running back to get double-digit carries in the opener, risky. It's risky.
Definitely risky. I know you talked Steelers last hour in their quarterback situation. Drew Aller, he looked pretty good in his debut, his preseason debut. Obviously, Will Howard as well didn't look too shabby. Facts or cap, the Steelers' quarterback of the future is currently on their roster.
It's a question we teased earlier, and you all hit us up on the phones with some interesting responses. Adding the context to it, worst case scenario, Steelers win like 8 games and they missed the playoffs, but they're picking middle of the pack. There could be as many as 5 first-round quarterbacks coming up in the 2027 draft. How well do Howard and Aller have to play to make Pittsburgh go, you know what, we're good? We got a franchise quarterback at home. There's always the meme going out there. We got McDonald's at home. We got a franchise quarterback at home. I'm going to go facts because I was really impressed by both guys. Here's the thing. I'm not a biased Steelers fan, so I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't know if it's going to be Aller or Howard still at this point. I think the jury is still out, and we have more preseason action to get to the bottom of this thing. That is going to do it for NFL Facts or Cap right here on Saturday Morning Sports. That's going to put a bow on this bad boy. Appreciate you all joining us. However you chose to do so, remember you can check out the YouTube live stream each and every show. Stu will have the podcast up for you. You can get that wherever you download your podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Westwood One Sports Night on YouTube. Back with you tomorrow morning for Sunday Morning Sports. Same place, same time. For our guys Stu, for Andrew, I'm Linnell Willingham. More Westwood One Sports coming right at you.
This is Westwood One Sports.